The World Championships of Cycling are just around the corner. I can't wait. It's so awesome seeing the team time trial, the time trials, the road races for, the teams, the juniors, the under 23, the elite, the men's, the women's. I mean, this is the one time of the year where the women's and the men's get the same sort of coverage. Not going to happen in this video as I'm not qualified enough to cover the women's event. If you want that sort of content, Jamie Huey, I think how to pronounce his name, on Twitter, an excellent guy to go to if you want women's coverage for the World Championship. But the World Championships, the men's, is something that I'd like to delve into a bit more today with the help of Troy Loveridge later on with the under 23 and the junior. My name is Jess Branker and I make these sort of videos every day, so make sure to click that subscribe button below to stay up to date on all of this content, as well as clicking that like button if you do enjoy this video. But the World Championships in Bergen this year, they're going to do this circuit 39.5 kilometers from the start to the finish with a hill halfway through that's named Salmon Hill. It's quite fitting as the most aggressive rider, I think the rider with the KOM jersey and Tour of Norway, actually wins 50 kilos of freshly smoked salmon. This year was Bernie Eisel. So, I mean, if you want to win your weight in beer or 50 kilos of smoked salmon, I mean, I really love beer, but Norwegian smoked salmon, please, oh god, yes, I must have that. But Bernie Eisel, you're free to invite me over whenever. But this year's World Championships are just around the corner. They're in Bergen, Norway this year. I was actually planning a trip to Bergen to watch it this year and go up there and talk to some of the riders. Instead, I'm actually heading to Australia. I'll be down under when this racing is underway, which is kind of unfortunate, but nonetheless, I can always catch up later on. This is the circuit profile that they're going to be taking on. And it's going to be fun to watch this year, ladies and gentlemen. The World Championships. Last year, Peter Sagan won in Doha. The year before that, he won in Richmond. What are the odds of Peter Sagan making it 3 in a row? According to Cillian Kelly, a really cycling geek on Twitter, there's never been a 3 in a row world champion. I mean, every single time that someone has attempted it, like Bagno, like Bettini, they've never really accomplished much the year after. And that's usually because, the people that organize the World Championships, they say, okay, Sagan has won it twice in a row, now we're going to shake it up. Didn't really do that this year. This course really does suit a rider like Peter Sagan, especially since we're in Norway. Right now, the weather forecast says nice and sunny. That can change overnight. We're up in Scandinavia where there's these drips of rain. I'm Danish, so I would know. But you could have really sunny weather and then for half an hour, it would just be spitting down, cats and dogs. So, yeah, stay safe out there, guys. It looks like a fairly nice circuit. It's pretty technical at some points, especially down near the hill. So it actually suits attacks. You see the run into the finish is fairly simple. It's got a nice long straight going up in here. You got a nice 90-degree turn, and the finish, if it's a sprint finish, it'll be really, really dangerous with this last 90-degree turn to the right. If not, it won't make much of a difference. But looking at the down here in the southeastern part of the course, you'll see that the run into Salmon Hill, there's a nice turn just before you actually hit the climb, which means you've got to be near the front of the pack to have a chance of attacking up the hill. And when you got to be near the front of the pack, you got to be either A, one of the strongest riders in the bunch, or B, well protected with a strong nation. We're talking Spain, we're talking Netherlands, we're talking Great Britain, we're talking Italy. Those are the countries that are having plenty of riders on the start line where you can really navigate your main contender into the right position near the front. So who are the favorites in the elites to win this year's World Championships? Obviously, we've already mentioned Peter Sagan. His biggest rivalry is probably Belgium's Greg van Avermaet, but Belgium brings a really strong team as well with several riders that can go off the front. One of them is Tim Wellens, who they can put out as an early attacker on the course. He recently put in a really nice performance in a race the other day. The name escapes me. GP Wallonie, I think it is, where they have that nice finish up to the Muur. So that's another one, or the Capel, who could go early in the race. There's also Eva Boasson-Hagen, who's been looking nice lately. There's always, Tom Dumoulin, Bauke Mollema of the Netherlands. Never count out the Brits. They've got strong riders. I mean, who's to say Chris Froome won't go on the attack and try something? It looks like he is in the shape of his life. But I think in the end, the World Championships, it's going to come down to 3 riders. Greg van Avermaet, Peter Sagan, and Eva Boasson-Hagen. I know that's a really thin field, considering that the World Championships has this massive pack. But of everyone that's taken part this year, I think 3 riders have the potential of winning. And those are the 3 riders I mentioned before: Sagan, Hagen, and and Avermaet. Those are the 3 riders that can all attack on Salmon Hill, 1.5 kilometers at 6.4%. They're the riders that can stay and win a sprint, but they're also the riders that can solo off the front. They've got the versatility, the utilities to do whatever is required of them in the bunch, in the race. It's up to every other nation to make it tough on Slovakia, on Belgium, on Norway. Because Norway is a split team. Half of the team is going for Kristoff, half of the team is going for Bosenhagen. They're not working together. Is that a smart option? It wasn't with Germany in Doha. Will it be a smart option this year? I doubt it, but I think Bosenhagen doesn't need a team. So it's up to teams like Italy to light it up. It's up to teams like Spain to send maybe 2 riders in the breakaway. I know that's not really usually what they do, but you've got to beat Sagan here. Sagan has got a small team. He's got his usual team with Kolar, with Jurai, but they need more. If there's a breakaway, they need help from other squads. And so why don't the other squads team up together and go against Sagan? Because there's that famous quote Sagan says that when Sagan wants to win, he wins. So you've got to throw the book at him and try to make something up. That's at least the World Championships, the road race, elite. Then there is the time trial course. And oh boy, this is going to be a fun one. So it is 31 kilometers in length, and they're going up Mount Floyen at the end. 3.4 kilometers at 9.1% average gradient. 9.1% average gradient is pretty tough. It's really, really tough. It's at that steep gradient where you can't use a time trialing bike. You can, but it's not beneficial to use a heavy time trialing bike up such an incline. Ideally, you actually want to switch. You actually want to change your bike probably halfway through the stage once you go into the hillier terrain, or maybe just before. Actually, I think the ultimate point will be just before the 3rd and final time check of the day. That's where you actually change your bike from a nice TT machine. So if you're specialized, you change from your TT rig into a the new SWX Tarmac. If you're a Trek, you change into the Emunda. I mean, there are all these different climbing machines that are so light that we'll see what they can do. What does Alpecin do? Sorry, Alpecin. What does Sunweb do with Tom Dumoulin, who goes into this being the major favorite, as he's shown form in the Giro. He's shown form again recently in Canada, and now he's going into this race as the major favorite. What's his game plan? Are they even allowed to change bikes? That is a conversation that is still being had with the UCI regarding the rules for the World Championships. And that just shows how organized cycling is, that we're this far into the season and just now they're starting to pinpoint the rules of whether or not you're actually allowed to change your bike going into the finish of the World Championship. Come on, UCI. This is something you should have had set in stone once once you showed the profile. It should have been, okay, here's the course, here are the rules, bam, done, end of the story, prepared for it. Nope, that's not what they did. Typical cycling. Other than Tom Dumoulin, there's Chris Froome. I mean, there's Rohan Dennis as well, but I don't rate Rohan Dennis as well, as high as the others, and that might be my downfall, but this is really a 2-man race. It's Chris Froome versus Tom Dumoulin. There's always Vasil Kirienka, who finds form for the World Championships, being the world champion one year, the most, not unknown world champion, but if you're a newcomer to cycling, you see a Belarusian win the World Championships, you go, that can't be right. If you're in cycling, you know Kirienka is a beast, who likes cat videos. But Tom Dumoulin versus Chris Froome, I think in the end, it's going to be Tom Dumoulin, and he's probably going to win by 30 seconds. Yes, that's how big I think. I think that's how good Tom Dumoulin is right now. So that is the men's elite time trial and road race. Now, to help me with the junior and the under 23 field, I've actually teamed up with a man who knows much more than me, because I can sit here and spit out names to you written down from a start list or from a results page, and it won't have the same ethos, it won't have the same credibility. So I've actually teamed up with my good friend Troy Loveridge, who spends most of his day doing results for First Cycling when he's not busy with his apprenticeship, and he just watches under 23 and junior cycling like religiously. Like, we watch road cycling elite, he watches under 23 and junior. So please do take good care of my friend Troy, and if you like what he has to say, please let him know in the comment section below, because I know he was a bit nervous going on here, and it means a lot to me that he was willing to come on here and share some of that knowledge with you guys. So without further ado, Troy, take it away.
First of all, we have Rasmus Tiller. Now, Rasmus Tiller is built like an absolute house, and the House of Tiller has got a massive chance of taking him to 23 road race. Norway are fielding a very, very strong home team for this race, and Tiller proved in the Tour de l'Avenir that he's not afraid of having to go for the win with an attack. And he was constantly doing that on the flatter stages of the race that opened the race. And we saw him multiple times off the front in the last 10 to 15 kilometres. The course for this year's World Championships provides a big chance for Tiller. It's his opportunity to do again what he showed in the Tour de l'Avenir, and with plenty of opportunities to attack before the finish, it could well be his year. Whilst the Norwegian team are bringing Sky's new recruit Christopher Halvorsen is more of a pure sprinter, and this race is unlikely to see an end which has a bunch sprint. So this could be Tiller's chance to shine and take it home for the home team. Also, though, in the Under-23 race, we have Jesper's compatriot Casper Pedersen. Much like Tiller, Pedersen is not afraid of going for a solo for the win. He's recently won the Under-23 European road race, as we saw back in August, and in the Tour of Denmark, he's also just recently taken a stage. This has proven the quality that he has, and he's a very confident attacker who must be watched in the Under-23 road race. He must be licking his lips at the chance of this one, because look at the form he's got. The Tour of Denmark was just earlier this week, and it proves a massive step for him into going into World Week, that he's got the form and he can go for it. And especially, as I mentioned with Tiller, it's an uncertain nature of how the final will play out. This could be Pedersen's chance to get away on his own. And, you know, he most of his wins have came in Denmark, but who knows? If he gets the chance to go for it in Norway, this could be his time. But he's not the only one from the Danish team. They do have other riders such as Kasper Asgreen, who won the first stage of the Tour de l'Avenir. He's one to watch out for, and they've got a very strong team. So look out for them in the last sort of half of the race, looking to light things up. Moving away from the Under-23, and we'll just go on to a couple of juniors who could be worth watching. Andreas Leknesund is the first of those. Leknesund has by far been the best junior rider in the world this year. In August, he was crowned European Junior Time Trial Champion, and that followed on from multiple victories in the spring. 4 of those victories have came in time trials, which makes him a very big favourite for the time trial here in Bergen. He's also won the National Time Trial Championships of Norway, which stands him in good stead on home soil. You can't exactly forget him for the road race either. He's shown that he's got some more climbing legs and the ability to go for it, not just in the TT, after winning the overall of the Tour de Pays de Vaud back in May. He's riding both the time trial and the road race, so you've got to watch for him in both. And with it being home race, and we all know the juniors and the Under-23s in Norway and Denmark, they're always strong teams. And Leknesund, you never know, he could do the double here. Although recently at the GP Rubeland, his form had gone slightly, but I believe he was carrying a slight injury. However, if he's recovered from that, for sure, Leknesund's got to be the favourite for the time trial, and certainly one to look out for in the road race. The final rider to look out for is Alexis Renard. Renard has been a winner of multiple decent junior events this year. Back in April, he took the GP Bob Jungels, winning a sprint from a 4-man group. That was a very good win from him, and he's continued that throughout the rest of the season. Further victories then came at the Tour de Valrome Juniors in a stage, and he's also just recently beaten Tom Pidcock, another rider that we must look out for at the World Championships, in a sprint on a stage of the GP Rubeland. And that was also matched by then finishing second in the overall classification of that race to Pidcock. A rider who can also time trial, Renard can certainly survive some tougher days in the saddle and produce a good sprint when he has to, which will come in handy for the junior road race if it comes down to a select group. If it is that select group scenario, and if Renard's there, the others are going to have a big problem when it comes to dealing with him, because if he gets out, for sure he can win. Some other joker riders just to finish off with to look out for: in the Under-23, Jaakko Hänninen of Finland, massive rider to look out for. He's shown some great potential recently, and he's a great joker. That concludes it really, and hopefully we'll see some good races there, and good one to look out for.